Van Kuren? Oh. Mr. Van Kuren, we're ready to start. Thank you. Good evening, Westbury family. We'd like to welcome you to the 25-26 budget hearing for this year. This is not a regular board meeting, so there's no need to call roll call. Also, there will be no votes at all during this meeting. But in order to start the meeting, I'd like to do what we normally do is do the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silent meditations. Could you please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. As stated previously, this year is our budget hearing in which you'll have the budget will be presented to you. The community will have an opportunity to ask questions, have any questions answered, or make any statements at this time. That is the format. When you come to the podium, please announce your name and your address, and then you may proceed with your questions once they make the budget presentation. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Tahira Dupuy-Chase, and she will commence the budget hearing. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Vice President Ewing. Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here for our 2025-2026 budget hearing. I am going to ask my esteemed cabinet, with the inclusion of Mr. Rob Stein, to please join me at the microphone. Community members who are here in the audience, and of course, my board members and our board clerk who are here on the dais, please have a seat if you'd like, because we are going to present on the screen, and you also should have a handout as well. And for those of you who are at home, the camera will be on the screen so that you can follow along. Perfect. Good evening once again. It is our pleasure and honor again to present the 2025-2026 proposed budget at our budget hearing. Once again, and you've heard this before, and we're just going to briefly go over this again, there is a timeline by which we use to construct the budget in which we will be presenting to our community for vote on May 20th. Of course, the budget process started well before November. It actually started the day of last year's budget vote, and we thank the community once again for voting favorably for our budget, which allowed us to bring in amazing programs, expand programs in our school district, all on behalf of our scholars. And as you see in November, we started training staff members on basically how to enter budget into our financial software. We spent time with our school leaders asking what it is that they would like to see and building a wish list from our school leaders. And of course, in January, we relied on the governor's budget to be released. We continued with our budget meetings. February, we continued with our meetings. In March, we actually made our first presentation to you all, our community, on the 18th of March. And of course, in April, our Board of Education adopted the budget on the 8th of April to be exact. And here we are on May 6th with our budget hearing. And please note that our budget vote is scheduled for May 20th. Okay, there are some highlights that I just would like to point out in the 2025-2026 budget. And those highlights include, ready for it? Tax freeze for the second consecutive year. There will be a tax levy freeze to our community, and I will say this is very unique. You don't hear this, especially this day and age and under this financial climate, but once again, the board did their due diligence in being fiscally responsible, as well as taking into consideration what it is that our scholars need and what it is that our school community need, and providing those things without having to increase our school taxes. We're very, very proud that we will maintain, provided that the budget does pass, our programs that we have all come to love for the 2024-2025 school year. They will be maintained for the 2025-2026 school year. We also anticipate maintaining staff levels where they are, except of course for retirees, and some of those positions will not need to be replaced. We will expand some of our existing programs, and you'll hear a little bit more about that during this budget hearing, and you'll hear more about that in the weeks to come as well. And we're also proud that we will continue investments in our facilities. I'm sure many of you have seen some of the investments that we've already made throughout the school district, and we look forward to continuing making investment in our facilities.
Okay, on the next page, we have our executive summary. And as we can see, our 25-26 proposed budget has proposed expenditures of $201 million and proposed revenues also of $201 million. That is a 1.22% change versus a prior year. And the important thing to note on this page, that you can see under proposed revenues under school tax, there is a 0% school tax increase. On the next page, we can see that, and Dr. Chase mentioned that the tax levy, this is the second year of a tax freeze levy, and the levy has been lowered by 5.3% over the last 6 years. Proposition number 2. In 2019, the district established a capital reserve fund to be funded by surplus monies remaining in the general fund at the end of each year, not to exceed $2.5 million. The remaining total in the Capital Reserve Fund is currently $8.3 million. Now, these funds are already available for use, and there is no cost to the taxpayers. All that's required is approval, and that's on proposition number 2. So this year, there'll be 2 propositions on the budget. The first proposition will be for the school district budget, and the second proposition will be for the transfer of funds from the district's Capital Reserve Fund to the Capital Improvement Fund, making those funds available for capital projects like construction, reconstruction, and renovations of school district buildings. Now, in addition to our capital funds, the district does additional funding of small projects in our operating funds. We can see that in 23-24, some of our projects were pool resurfacing, stage lighting in this auditorium, PA and blue light systems in all the elementary buildings. In the years 24-25, we installed a playground at Powell's. We removed 3 oil tanks that were aging. We did bathroom renovations at the high school and Park Avenue. And we did an exciting parking lot expansion project at Drexel. We replaced the 3rd floor ceilings at the middle school, and we will, before the end of the year, be repairing the loading dock at Powell's Lane. Now for the 25-26 proposed plan projects, we're going to be spending about $1.4 million. At the high school, we're going to spend about $80,000 on band renovations and a septic repair. At the middle school, we'll be doing bathroom renovations and improvements to our home ec and tech room. At Drexel, we'll be doing floor and ceiling replacements and gym wall pads. At Dryden, we'll be doing gym mats, bathroom renovations, and another oil tank removal. At Park, we have an exciting playground replacement, bathroom renovations, and another tank removal. And at Powell's, we have a classroom cabinet replacement, a 3rd tank removal, which will have then removed all the underground oil tanks in the district, and we'll be doing floor and ceiling replacements. So all those are very exciting. Some are noticed, some are unnoticed. The ones underground are unnoticed, but a lot of the ones are visible, and they're exciting, and we're proud to keep making these improvements to the district.
So of course, we gave you pretty much of an overview of the budget highlights. And again, this proposed budget reflects a tax freeze for the 2nd consecutive year. It also reflects maintaining our programs and our staff from this previous year, as well as expanding some of our existing programs that we absolutely love in the school district, and also continued investments in facilities. But we have to also inform you of what happens should the budget not pass, and if the budget is defeated. We have 2 options. The first option is to resubmit the same proposal or revise one for a revote. Or we adopt a contingent budget. And if residents vote down the budget a second time, the district must adopt a contingent budget. And a district that adopts a contingent budget would have to levy the same amount of taxes in the current year or less. And budget being presented has a tax freeze once again. And I know it sounds daunting, but we just have to talk about the realities of what happens if the budget does not pass. So, how does a contingent budget impact our schools, you may ask? Adopting a contingent budget prohibits a school district from spending any money in certain areas, which include community use of our school facilities, and we have many community members who absolutely love to use our facilities, new equipment purchase, non-essential maintenance, capital expenditures, except in the event of an emergency, salary increases for non-instructional and non-unionized employees, and certain field trips and school supplies that our scholars so desperately need will not necessarily be available to them. So last year, our community overwhelmingly voted in favor of our budget, and in doing so, allowed us to do some amazing things for our scholars. Again, as Mr. Stein indicated, some seen, some unseen, but mostly seen, and our scholars are benefiting tremendously from them. And I'm going to ask the assistant superintendents to take on this particular slide, and let's talk a little bit about those amazing things that we were able to accomplish as a result of our community support.
Thank you, Dr. Chase, and thank you to the community and to the Board of Education for supporting these amazing initiatives. So firstly, thank you for supporting a long process over 2 years to bring the International Baccalaureate program to our school district. It's a world-class. We are aspiring to be a world-class district. This is a world globally recognized program, and we began our first courses this year. Our first International Baccalaureate program scholars will graduate next year with an internationally recognized International Baccalaureate diploma. We also want to recognize the opportunity because we learn and excel in our classrooms, but we also learn and excel in other places. We've heard about our scholars excelling in debates that have taken place in Harvard and elsewhere. We've heard about our scholars excelling in Carnegie Hall. Well, our scholars are doing really interesting study and community service work in international destinations. This year was our first year of supporting financially travel to international destinations. This year, our scholars went to Peru and Brazil and engaged in study of the linguistic, cultural, and historical treasures, and also, as I mentioned, engaged in community service opportunities. So our scholars are building international knowledge as well as building their character as they're doing the right thing in their own communities and communities around the world. Also introduced this year is a brand new ELA curriculum at our middle school. It's an engaging program that's grounded in culturally responsive texts. Our students will see themselves in these texts as well as engaging writing tasks for a multitude of different purposes. Another thing that we're very proud of that is coming to fruition this year is the creation of what we used to call back in the day a TV studio, but our scholars they're creating content on their own all the time, and what we're nearing the end, about ready to cut the ribbon on our content creation lab, in which students will create video, sound, media, could be music recording, can be content-oriented recording on a variety of subjects. We anticipate that it will be used across curricula as well as around our district as a hub for work to be done around our district. So with that, I'm going to pass it to my colleague for some more bullet points and praise and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Galvin. So one of the exciting things that we were able to do due to your support of last year's budget, where we were able to implement many technology expansions. For one, we were able to add a second middle school robotics team this year, and we're looking forward to maintaining that in the coming budget. And we were also able to implement a Chromebook refresh plan. Essentially, many of our student devices had reached end of life, which means that our students were using devices that weren't fully functional. With your support of our previous budget for this school year, we were able to implement a Chromebook refresh plan, which ensures that every student in the district has a Chromebook in hand that is no more than 3 years old and has not yet reached that end-of-life status. So students are continually able to, on a 3-year cycle, receive a new device, ensuring that they have the most up-to-date technology to continue and enhance their learning. Last year, we were able to reimagine our summer school programming thanks to your support of our budget. We were able to continue with our STEAM programming, we were able to continue with our credit recovery program at the secondary level, and we offered a 1-week-long active zone program, which was a hit in our community. So with the budget this year, with your support, the community's support, we're hoping to continue to expand that. We will continue to offer our secondary credit recovery programs, continue to support our special education programming for students with 12-month IEPs, continue to offer our STEAM programming, and we'll be expanding the Active Zone program. So last year, while it was a 1-week-long program, this year we're looking to expand it to a 3-week program. There is so much demand for it, so much support that we feel that that is the necessary next step to support our scholars and our community. We also hope to offer a fine and performing arts program. So that will be a 4-week program where scholars are engaged in visual arts and performance arts. So there will be music, there will be theater, there will be hands-on art making, and each week the various theme will culminate in a presentation of their learning. So we are very excited that and hope your support for the budget does come through so that we are able to enact those programs. Last year, because of your support, we were able to expand our Strive programming. So Strive is a subset of our special education programming. So our scholars with IEPs who have the highest level needs, who previously had to be placed in out-of-district placements in order to have those needs met. We, 2 years ago, brought back a cohort of students in the middle school, and thanks to your support this past year, we were able to transition some of those students up to a high school cohort, as well as bring back 2 sections of scholars at the elementary level. This is incredibly important as every single one of our Westbury scholars deserves the opportunity to be educated in the Westbury School District and have their needs met. Through your support of last year's budget, we were able to do just that. We were able to bring our children back, have them here in our community with their aged peers, with their neighbors, with their friends, to continue to build that sense of community. And with your support of the budget this year, we continue to expand that program, bringing more students back to our existing sections, but also implementing a kindergarten section of Strive so that our incoming kindergartners can start with us and grow with us all the way through to graduation. Thank you.
Good evening. Oh, we're getting towards the end. Maybe we can get a little bit more enthusiasm. It's my part now. Good evening. All right. So I wanted to follow up with some items that we've not only made enhancements this year, but we're looking to expand for next year. So, for example, take a look at interscholastic sports. This year, we've expanded our offerings for our female scholar athletes and our male scholar athletes, from tennis teams, both males and females. Boys volleyball, in which that first-year JV team went undefeated. We are looking next year to further expand our interscholastic sports. So we're looking for that JV boys volleyball team to now bring on a varsity team. We're looking to expand tennis to the varsity level for our females and our males, and we're also looking to start a golf program for our females and our males. Yeah, we can give a big round of applause for that. Absolutely. So not only have we seen great strides this year, but this budget also reflects expanded opportunities for our scholar athletes for next year, because the more our students are engaged, as we say in the 3 A's, the academics, the arts, and the athletics, in this case it's the athletics, the more of a well-rounded program the students are going to receive. We also have made such great strides in our professional learning communities initiative. We are in year 2 of the certification process with Solution Tree to cross our fingers at the end of next year to receive model school certification to be the first school district in New York and on Long Island to receive that prestigious certification. We're in year 2 right now, and just to summarize, professional learning communities are our educators working almost daily in professional learning teams to determine guaranteed and viable curriculum, to teach the curriculum, to assess our students through common assessments, to regularly analyze data from those common assessments to determine which students need extension, enrichment, support, intervention, so it increases the student achievement levels. And then, after we finish that, we start it all over again. And it's a continuous cycle of improvement and embedded professional development for our staff. We are in year 2, and we are in the process of completing the year 2 application for promising practices. We are looking to submit that application at the end of May, and if it is received and approved, we will be the first school district on Long Island to receive promising practices certification, which will then lead to next year model schools. So we're really excited about what we've done the past few years and looking forward to extending it into next year. And you'll see some of our security enhancements as well, what we've done this year, and we have many security projects planned for next year. You see the first, Contingent, so many of us are wearing, those of us who have our badges on, our Contingent student response, emergency response alert, that if there's an emergency situation, you press the button several times, and it provides immediate notification alert. It is so highly successful throughout the country that it was important for us to bring it to the Westbury Union Free School District. We also installed blue lights in each of the schools, door jar systems, and we expanded the parking circle at Drexel Avenue School, and we are installing our Security Operations Center at Drexel Avenue School. So those are some of our highlights, and the budget also reflects projects as well. So we're excited about the future, and thank you very much.
Okay, the future is bright at Westbury School District. So let's talk about our next steps. And as you heard from all of us, that there will be Proposition 1 on the ballot. Proposition 1 is the actual 2025-2026 budget, and then there's Proposition 2. And once again, Proposition 2 is basically the community giving us permission to use the money that you've already approved so that we can continue to make construction enhancements in the school district. And that's basically what it means. And so our next steps, if anyone should have questions beyond this meeting, and those who are watching us at home, and once this meeting is over and you think about something that you didn't really think about while you're here, you can definitely reach out to us at budget@westburyschools.org. To date, we have not received any questions, so I guess our presentations have been pretty thorough, right? We haven't received any questions, but we're still open to your questions. Please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any questions that you may have to help inform your decision about our budget. We are also encouraging you to please check our website. Check our website for any updates. Check our website for any more details about our proposed budget. We will continue to update it as per needed. And don't forget, on May 20th, from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., exercise your right to vote. You are encouraged to come out to vote. Not only are you voting on Proposition 1 and Proposition 2, you're also voting for 3 trustee seats. Floyd Ewing III, Robert Troiano Jr., Mateo Flores. So there are 3 seats open, 3 candidates running. You can vote at Drexel Avenue Elementary School, Dryden Street Elementary School, Park Avenue Elementary School, and Westbury Middle School. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Chase. At this time, we're going to open the floor up to any one in the audience that has any questions. If there are any questions that are online, please provide them to us so that we may have them addressed as well. Anyone have any questions?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chester McGibbon, 502 Alicia Drive. Before I get to my budget question, Mr. Vice President, I'd asked in the past about cell phone use policy of this district. I see the governor has ruled that this should be banned from being used in schools during school time. Some districts have indicated that they're pushing back on this. Some said they're going to appeal it. What's our district take on this?
At this time, the board has not developed an official policy regarding cell phone use in terms of whether it's restricted within the school. But I think that's something we will consider if it is the will of not only the superintendent, but also the greater community, if they're desirous of that. So, but something we're going to investigate in the future.
So we still have not decided whether we're going to obey the governor's ruling or we're going to push back on it. We have not.
It's not a
decided yet.
ruling. I think it's an opinion. So right now, it's an opinion. It's not a law. It's not an executive order, as so to speak. So each community and each district has their right to develop their own cell phone policies as they see fit, based on the needs of the community. So we're going to investigate the needs of our community and see what if any policy we will develop as a result of that.
Okay, thank you. At our last meeting, someone from the audience asked about whether we had a list of vendors or contractors or entities that we do business with from time to time, whether contingently or regularly. The answer was we don't have such a list. Has any consideration been given that we should have a list of those vendors and contractors that if a member of the public would like to look at the terms and conditions under which business is being done with these entities? Have you given any thought to this?
Well, we don't have an official list where it says these are the only contractors we can use. However, we do have a list of contracts that we have used in the past. If any member of the community wishes to have a list, they very well can foil that list and we can make it available to them.
Okay, thank you.
And just so in case anyone doesn't know what FOIL means, Freedom of Information Act.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I just want to add, if I may, Mr. McGibbons, that any vendor that the school district utilizes or any contract, any agreement that we enter to is by approval of the board. So therefore, all the contracts and all the agreements that we have entered into with all the vendors on a yearly basis get approved. And that's so, although we could look into having a running list, so to speak, so you have like a directory perhaps that the community could access just to see who the contractors are. The actual agreements already are, available, for the community to access through the agendas that we publish every time that we have an action meeting where we vote. Okay.
So that would be like a FOIL request?
That way it can be done as well, but it can also be accessed through the agendas that are published, in the school district that are already available.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Vice President, in going through the line items here, on the budget now. I see we have money allocated for overtime. If you could perhaps enlighten me, my concept of overtime is someone being paid for tasks that were not done during their or his normal course of work assignment.
I'm sorry, you finished?
Yeah, so I would say, well, it would be like an exigent situation or contingent situation. You have a flooding and someone has to get the place ready for next day. How do we put money aside for this eventuality,
Well,
not knowing that whether or not it will occur?
yes, you're correct in your description of overtime. Overtime is unforeseen work hours and man hours necessary to complete a task. Okay, we have to put that in the budget so we have enough money just in case there are unforeseen circumstances in which to complete a task. And so basically what happens is previous years, we've looked at the amount of time we've used for overtime, and we budget that amount just in case. Now, that does not necessarily mean we will use all that money, or doesn't mean that we have, that we won't need more additional funds, or we'll cut off the overtime. But the overtime is not given automatically. It has to be exigent circumstances in which overtime is necessary. So if there's additional time that's necessary for, there's a leak or fire or some additional garbage or something of that nature that needs to be done, we have that allocated for that so that we can actually pay our employees for their time that they've spent
And if
over their original hours.
If those monies are not used,
It goes within the budget and can be allocated through a fund transfer to another item if necessary.
I got you. One last question. I was at the village meeting last month, and they were having a hearing on a property that's being developed here. And the question arose whether or not that would impact the school district. A counsel for the hearing mentioned that no, that would not happen. It will not impact the school district in terms of enrollment and so forth. But he did say that a grant or favor, a contribution was made to the school district. And my question was this in kind or in cash? He mentioned it was cash, a financial contribution. When queried the dollar amount of that contribution, I was told that that was an inappropriate question. So can you say, Mr. Vice President, what was that dollar amount and where would it be represented here?
Okay. With respect to the information you're talking about right now, if we were to receive a grant of that kind, that would be in a resolution to receive that money. Okay. I don't know exactly which organization you're speaking of, so I can't tell you exactly when that was or if it has happened as yet. Generally, whenever a construction project, and I'm gonna let Mr. Quintanilla,
yes,
the
he was
village
at the
trustee,
meeting. Yes, he was at the meeting, so perhaps he can shed
discuss that.
some light
He can
on
discuss that, but I just want to just say this. When a building project is coming to our district, oftentimes because of the tax implications and or the implications in terms of maybe student population, the organizations will provide a grant of some type to the school district in order to fund a program or to show that they're an ally and a resource for the school district in order to bring that project to fruition.
Yeah, but the gentleman distinctly said that a financial contribution was made to the school district. Have we received that yet? And what was the dollar amount?
The thing is, I don't know the organization you're talking about right now. If you can, again, make a request or provide us additional information as to what that organization is, we can determine whether or not in the resolution it has been accepted or not. I don't know which organization you're talking about.
Trustee Contingent was at that meeting. Perhaps he can, you may remember that conversation, sir, if you
Mr. Cantonia, if you
could
can
opine on that.
Yes.
I'm more than happy to do that. For those who may not be aware, I was appointed as a Village of Westbury trustee in November of 2024. This past March, I ran for my seat, and I won a seat as a trustee for 4 years. Therefore, I've been present since November in all the hearings and conversations and meetings that the village has had. As you also may be aware, the village has a development plan which has been ongoing for a few years now. And we already had a property that has been developed, apartments that already have been built. And to expand on that process, obviously when a developer asks for concessions from the granting authority, in this case the village, to go ahead with the project, the village has asked for a community benefit, and that's what it's called. It's called a community benefit, and that is a negotiation that happens between the village and the developer. In this case, the latest development that you're referencing is Alpine Developments. They are building 187 apartments on Scally and Union. And so we have given them the green light to move ahead with that project. We haven't finalized, as a village, a formal agreement with them. That will be forthcoming very soon. Part of the negotiations of the village is that the community benefit is a financial benefit. That has not been finalized completely as well. The board president, who's not present today, Mr. Robert Troiano, has had conversations with Alpine, their legal counsel, in terms of what the benefit would be in terms of financial benefit to the Westbury School District, and in what form that benefit would be. So you have two unknowns right now. One is the village has not finalized that agreement with Alpine in terms of the community benefit. And second, we haven't approved their project. Therefore, whatever agreement they come to has not been approved. So it doesn't make sense, nor can we divulge what that is, because it hasn't been finalized. And therefore, once that happens, the conversation between the board president with Alpine will take place as well, in conjunction with, the village, in terms of agreeing to that community benefit, both to the village and the school district. And then when we approve the project, we'll be able to tell the community what that is at that moment. It will be of a financial nature. The structure of it, as I said, is still being discussed and negotiated. So that will be something that will be forthcoming.
Well, let me apologize if I did not understand him clearly. What I recall hearing was that a financial contribution was made to the school district, not that it will be made. So I apologize if I heard wrong, and as to whether or not it was an inappropriate question, I hope that when that monies or that financial contribution is made, we will have a chance to know the dollar amount, and it will be stated in our record.
And I will expand on that, and I just want to say that no question is inappropriate. And I actually thank you for asking questions, because it is important for the community to know the details of the conversations that are happening. I would just want to expand on when I say community benefit. The opportunity that we see is not only a financial opportunity, but also it is of enriching and also exposing our scholars to the different areas that, in the industry that take place with developments, real estate development. We're in the business of educating our scholars to be well-rounded individuals, to be exposed to areas that they may not be familiar with. And one of the things that I care about tremendously is not only the financial benefit that we can obtain from a community benefit from a real estate project, but also internships, but also having exposure to architecture, to construction, to electrical, plumbing trades, HVAC trades. And it's I think that the biggest benefit that I would like the community to focus on is how can we partner with these developers so that they can open opportunities for our scholars to learn what they do, because what we want is our scholars to learn how to do those things so they can do themselves for our communities as well. So part of the community benefit is going to be financial, but part of it is going to be also a process where we will have a revolving door opportunities for our scholars over the years as projects come online in order for them to have exposure to the industries.
I thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Hello, good evening. Karen Ramos, 45 3rd Avenue. Just have a quick question. It says about the academic enhancement at Powell's and Dryden. Why aren't the other schools getting that, and what is that on here?
Yeah.
We will ask Ms. Ramos, right? We will ask Ms. Barnett to assist us in answering that question, as she is on the computer looking at the infrastructure of the budget.
I'm sorry, Ms. Ramos, you're looking specifically at Powell's, and what was the second building?
Oh, no, it says that both Powell's and Dryden are getting that enhancement, but why aren't like Park and Drexel getting that same enhancement?
Yeah. Absolutely. So this section, the 2110-490 code, relates to the teacher's compensation in grades K to 12. It includes substitute teachers, teachers' assistants, teacher aides, instructional equipment, other expenses and staffing, as well as workbooks and things like that. Through our restructuring of our special education programs, we are moving some of our staff around. So what you're going to see is, with the increase of the Strive program, you'll see that reflected for staffing. And then we are also expanding our self-contained classes over at Powell's. So right now, Powell's houses our self-contained programs. We have a 2-3 combined grade level class, a 4th grade class, and a 5th grade class. Next year, we're actually going to move to having individual classes per grade level. So there'll be one self-contained in 1st, one self-contained for 2nd, one for 3rd, one for 4th, and one for 5th. So that's what you're seeing there.
What do you mean by self-contained?
So a self-contained class is a specialized education setting. It's for students with IEPs that mandate a 15-1-1 setting. So that's 15 students to 1 teacher and 1 aide. So when we look at the types of settings that we have for special ed, they build in complexity. You go from your general education class to the next tier being resource rooms. So that's an added support for students who are in the general education class. The next level would be the ICT classes. That's an integrated co-teach class. It's a general education teacher and a classroom teacher. And then the next level is what we call self-contained, and that's a 15-1-1. The next level above that is the Strive setting, which is an 8-1-2.
All right, got it, thank you. And then my other question was about the playground at Park, which I saw is part of that budget. If the budget does go through, do we know when that will start? When it'll be ready for the school, for the kids?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Stein. What she's asking, she said if, but I'm going to say when.
If and when, yes.
So when the budget passes, when does the project of constructing the playground at Park begin? That seems to be a very popular item. The children were cheering for that before.
Yeah, actually, I can report that our Director of Facilities was meeting this week in preparation for that with the recreational company that supplies that. So there is about a 8-week delivery time once everything is signed. So we're trying to get all the ducks in a row so that we can execute quickly when the budget is passed. Thereabouts. Yeah, okay.
But we'll have a ribbon cutting and all the bells and whistles when the budget passes.
When it passes, all right, thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Ramos. Hello, Ms. Lomax.
Hello, Isabella Hamilton, Lomax 565 Jefferson Street. I have a few questions. First, I'd like to say thank you for the proposed 0% tax levy, which is great as a homeowner. I appreciate it, but I do have questions because I'm just trying to understand the budget. So when I look at it, I see like year over year that the percentage is actually 1.22% increase, the change, most of which is offset by foundation aid and state aid. So I wanted to just make sure that that aid that we're expecting to offset this 1.22 will actually come in and we'll actually see a 0% tax levy. Sure. Yeah, so the foundation aid and the state aid, I don't think that the state has passed the budget and our current administration is a question, right? So are we certain that we'll get the foundation aid and the state aid to offset the 1.22 that I see here? We're confident?
Yeah.
Okay.
From review of the budget, we have made conservative assumptions. So we're not overestimating the amount of state aid we're receiving. We're actually keeping it in a moderate level.
Okay.
So that if we do exceed that, we will have additional.
Okay. So I won't see any change in my escrow.
Well,
for next-
that's
no, just
that's what we're
teasing,
doing
teasing.
our best to make sure we have.
Okay. I did have a question about enrollment a couple of weeks back. I was online. I was in Florida. I see that about 65% of the budget, maybe a little over 65% of the budget is made up of salaries and benefits. So, and I also noticed that you indicated that we would not be replacing any retirees that were not necessarily that needed to be replaced. Are we expecting an increase in enrollment due to the expanded pre-K program? And I just wanted to see like how we are explaining the increase in salaries to enrollment. Yeah, okay.
Anytime pre-K comes up, I am thrilled to talk about it. So our pre-K is all grant funded, so it's not going to be reflected in the 2025-2026 budget. But for UPK specifically, we are able to, we get a certain number of seats from New York State. We get 169.5 seats. They designate a certain number full day and a certain number half day, but they do allow you to convert in either direction. So what we have done for next year is we've maximized the number of seats. So we are anticipating offering a seat for every student who is interested. We'll have approximately 220 seats available. We're anticipating at maximum we'd have about 216 students based on our enrollment studies that we've been collecting data on. So we are really just maximizing our grant funding with UPK. It's not going to be reflected in this budget, but Dr. Chase can certainly talk to general enrollment.
Okay, yeah, so does general enrollment keep pace with the salaries that are proposed? Are we seeing an increase in enrollment? Is it about the same?
Unfortunately, there aren't many districts in the United States that are seeing an increase in student enrollment. And a lot has to do with the birth rate and other factors. And here at Westbury, we're not unique. We are not seeing an increase in enrollment. We're actually seeing steady, or we're seeing a slight decline every year in enrollment. At least that's the projection. But the one thing that I've learned about Westbury and looking at the history, you never know when you may just get an influx of scholars.
Right.
And so we're always prepared for that.
And just, Ms. Lomax, I wanted to say one thing. The administration has done a phenomenal job of allocating resources to ensure that we have the adequate number of staff, that we're not overstaffed, but also that we're never understaffed. But also made it so that easy so that we are not one of the districts that has had to make cuts because we've overestimated our population or the amount of staffing needs. So I just want to commend the staff, the administration on that, in that particular instance.
Okay, and just my last question. I know that this budget is proposed and adopted and curriculum is pretty much set, but I was going through some of the other course offerings in the districts around us. And just to touch back on a question that Ms. Ramos raised a few meetings ago about actually teaching maybe computer science at the middle school and high school levels and coding just to get our scholars ready for the future. I know we have the robotics programs and their clubs that are great, but looking at these course offerings, they're electives that the students are taking advantage of, which is preparing them for AP course credits when they get ready to go to school and take those advanced degrees. So I would just like us to consider including that in our course curriculum.
Thank you for the question. We are, that's always in our consideration, and we are, and right now we're actually looking over a course proposal for a technology course, but we currently do offer, as enrollment dictates, AP computer courses and AP programming courses. We anticipate as scholar interest and need grows, we'll be able to do that. But we'll also be, we're very conscious of integrating uses of technology into curriculum subjects across different content areas. So as we're continuing our conversations with thoughtful use of AI. So there are a lot of ways we're going about integrating technology into what we're doing. I mentioned earlier as one of our bullet points a content creation course, content creation lab, excuse me. And it's interesting when we talk to our scholars about, certainly we want to supply opportunities for deep learning such as coding, but in terms of integration of technology, it's something our scholars are, the term used to be technology natives. So in terms of creating, for example, one of our IB music scholars recently created this amazing video where there were multiple panels and required sound mixing, et cetera, and she was asked a question about it. And when she was asked a question about it, she spoke to the music that she was playing because the technology was kind of I'm not going to say a given, but that's part of the landscape she works in. So we think about technology in a lot of different ways, and we anticipate expanding our offerings depending on interest and enrollment.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh, okay.
I just wanted to add from the elementary level. We have had a lot of exciting work going on. In New York State as a whole, we have new standards around digital literacy and computer science and integrating that into the content areas as early as in elementary school. So Mr. Van Kuren is our Director of Information Technology and Instructional Technology, and he has been stewarding the elementary education technology teachers. We have an ed tech teacher at each of our elementary buildings, in really diving into those standards and creating a robust curriculum that scaffolds from kindergarten all the way up through 5th grade and then leads into the programming that we do in the middle and high school. And what you'll see is that it is really quite creative, and it's really not even preparing students for the 21st century, but the 22nd century. So for example, today there was just a district meeting of the technology team, and over an hour of the meeting was dedicated to going in and engaging with AI tools that we could then integrate into all of our courses for our students so that they can learn those platforms, learn how to use them ethically, responsibly, and making the appropriate selection so that our students do have that real world experience right here in our classrooms, and how we can use that in meaningful ways, not to replace what we're currently doing, but to elevate it in a K-12 perspective. So we have a lot of very exciting work going on around technology.
All right. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
I do want to say one thing as well as a father of two graduates, 2024 graduates of Westbury High School. One of my students was AP, took AP classes. She was able to get some credit for that. But another one of my students, he took the college level courses, and he's now finished his first year of college, and he is a second semester sophomore currently. He was able to transfer at least 20 credits from this program into his current college. So that's a money saver for me, and I'm very happy about that. But it's also, this is not, my son is very intelligent, but he didn't apply himself as much as he should have. This is available to all students. Having the ability to go to college level courses is not just for the top of the class. It's for all students who want to make themselves available to it. And he was able to get good grades and get 18, almost 20 credits transferred into where he was able to, he's a second semester sophomore right now, at Fisk University, but I know where he is. I know where he is, but in his end of his freshman year, he is considered a second semester sophomore because of the grades transferred. That is almost like a full year savings. So parents, we have the resources for us to save money from in school and beyond. We're doing the best we can. I believe we are, I know we are fiscally responsible. We are a board who have been really proud of the way we have been responsible to our scholars, to our staff, and to our community and taxpayers in maintaining and keeping our tax levy either low or reducing it or keeping it level so that we get the maximum benefit from your tax dollars so that our students, so our scholars, so our products of our community will go out into the world and do wonderful things. We thank you for your support in the past several years in supporting the budget. We ask that you on May 20th that you consider these things, that all the positive things that we've done over the past and we're planning on doing in the future as you go to the polls, you consider that when you decide on whether to vote for the budget or not. Okay, on May 20th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. at various locations near you. You know where they are. Drexel, Park Avenue, the middle school, and Dryden. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Hi.
I'm sorry.
I'm good. How are you?
I just wanted to dovetail on what Vice President Ewing just shared. We have college credit-bearing earning opportunities and through local institutions such as SUNY Old Westbury, LIU Post, as well as through AP course offerings and international baccalaureate course offerings. So we have a variety of courses for all of our scholars across all different kinds of content areas. And as Mr. Ewing also said, the intent is that we offer these opportunities and make them accessible and available to all our scholars.
Yes.
Good evening. Keisha Thomas Lewis, 821 Baldwin Drive. You just mentioned the courses that are available for the students. All students can take the college credit courses. So if you could just explain to me what's the difference between the IB program and that? Seven? Oh, okay.
So thank you for the question. As we just mentioned, we're able to offer all different kinds of college credit earning opportunities to our scholars, and they can take those courses, so to speak, a la carte. So if I'm interested in deep bio studies, then I can take this college credit bearing biology course or art courses and media courses from different colleges, and we can take those individually. So the International Baccalaureate Program is what it purports to be, what it says it's an entire program. So you can certainly still take an IB course, individual IB courses. In fact, we encourage all of our students to take at least one IB course before they graduate. That's a horizon goal for us. What the program is, if you're if your goal, your personal goal as a student is to earn the International Baccalaureate, this diploma, then it requires taking 6 International Baccalaureate courses in the various content areas, as well as other requirements, the requisite tests and assessments, some of which are standard tests, some of which are presentational. All the courses are 2-year courses, and so it's a program in that you're taking courses towards earning an International Baccalaureate diploma, which is, as I mentioned earlier, it's recognized across the world. And I'll talk about my own daughter, as Mr. Ewing shared about his children. My daughter earned an International Baccalaureate program diploma, and she essentially entered university as a sophomore, 30 college credits. College credits depend on which institution you're going to apply to, but that opportunity is there. But that particular intense experience might not be for everyone. So we try to have a menu of opportunities for our scholars to invest in those interests and cultivate those interests in areas of skills that they have.
Okay. Just another comment. Since you mentioned it, it's the IB program is accepted across the world. Do you encourage the students in high school to go to colleges abroad? Because if we want to save money, that also would help.
As of now, I don't know.
I was looking at you, Floyd. I'm sorry, I should have been looking here.
No,
I do have
fine. As of now, I don't know. However, the fact that we are doing international travel now, we might encourage those things as well. So
we are.
Okay. Because colleges overseas
so
is
just
significantly.
to give a concrete example, we earlier in the year we went to an international college fair in Manhattan. We took a group of busload of students and interested parents, and all the universities there were from around the world, Canada, U.S., and very recently, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, we had universities from places other than the United States here on campus virtually and in person that reached out to students potentially interested in international study. We had, last year we had a woman visit us from the University of Dublin, physically visit us and visit some of our English classes, including our Theory of Knowledge course. So that's a long way of saying yes. Okay. So we're providing, planting seeds about perhaps an international opportunity or, international studies are for you. And if you're interested in exploring, we're making that opportunity available to our scholars as well.
Thank you.
We actually have 2 scholars who are graduating the class of 2025, who are actually going to college to study international business. I hope that's not a spoiler alert. And then the kids may want to share that, sorry. But they shared that with me, and that's just what we're sparking, just giving our scholars those global experiences and those global perspectives, and to learn and to know that 2 of them are actually moving in that direction. It is so very heartfelt. Yeah. It
Absolutely.
really is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Those are great questions.
And just to follow up with that, I believe that it would be more of something that we can do in the future as we continue to grow our seal of biliteracy, as there are many schools in, yes, I know, I do listen sometimes. There are many schools in Spain and Europe that are clamoring for our students to come. So, thank you.
Good evening. This is Roy Ferguson, live at 532 Rutland Street, Westbury. I have 2 questions I want to ask about security vehicle for the school. I've been doing a lot of roving around a lot of school districts. We should have at least 2 security vehicles, one for the high school, one for the middle school. We can control with the longer security, because the big problem, when you look in Jericho and see those kids crossing the street, somebody going to get killed. It's very dangerous. And I think they should have 2 vehicles to get into the budget, because it's very important. Because safety with the
I believe we addressed some of the issues regarding security within our budget.
Yeah.
So thank you for that.
Yeah, because a lot of schools have security vehicle with the logo. Because when you look down in Jefferson, Rutland, Columbia Street, and see these kids, back in the days when Jeff, before leave, he used to drive around the vehicle and get the kids them home. If they give the security personnel 2 vehicles with the logo, the speaker.
So
the kids will go
you're saying
home.
security vehicles? Yeah.
Yes, security vehicle with the logo on it.
So thank you for your question.
Yeah.
That is something that, that's in discussion at our school, in our cabinet. Providing the vehicles with it's like a magnetic placard, if you will, that identifies the school district.
Yeah, with the sign in it too.
Correct. And I'm sure when you went to those other school districts to see those cars, it wasn't on district time, right?
Yeah.
It was probably after
Yeah,
school, of
I go
course, or
around and-
weekends when you
yeah.
saw that. So yeah, we're looking to do something very, very similar as well in our school district. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, because you have to protect the kids then, because when you see them on the
Sure.
street like that lingering and crossing Jericho, it's very dangerous, because you have the overhead. They should use that thing. They
We
should
are
never
fully
cross the
aware.
street, yeah.
Yep.
So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Come on up, Ms. Ramos. No, it's no sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about.
All right, so Karen Ramos, 45 3rd Avenue. So you had mentioned that depending on interest as far as like adding classes and whatnot, how do you gauge that? Like how do you gauge like the interest of the kids?
So gauge that interest in many different ways. We send out surveys. We also build. So part of the questions that I've asked since I've been here, even before assuming this role, have been, can we talk not about just singular classes? Can we talk about sequences of learning? So rather than saying we would like, name a class that's a great International Baccalaureate offering or an IB offering or SUNY Old Westbury offering, I'm also asking the questions about what builds a great sequence of learning. So Mr. Ewing just referenced our scholars' bilingual and trilingual capacities. So one of the things I wonder about is at times with the courses we have existing among our course offerings, how can we design course sequences that result in just an amazing 6-year experience? So to give an example, we offer, give a world language example, we offer AP Spanish, we offer International Baccalaureate course in Spanish, we offer the Checkpoint B, which is equivalent to the Regents in New York State, we offer Checkpoint A, which is a proficiency exam. We could have a sequence in high school that looks like a scholar taking Checkpoint B, which is often taken as sophomore or junior year, taking that course as a freshman, moving on to a Spanish language and grammar class, and then moving on to an IB International Baccalaureate 2-year sequence. That's a rich experience that results in a deep skill set that is immediately valued by the world. So not only adding courses, but looking at our sequence of courses and giving scholars guidance through a 6-year sequence, a 4-year sequence, a 2-year sequence.
Okay. So if some of the kids come into the high school like next year, if they have a bigger interest with the AI and the robotics and all that, that'll be something that be able to bring up and possibly something that could show up in the schools as a course. Okay. Thank you.
And we also have, which we are very, very proud of, is we have an advisory committee of scholars. We meet with them once a month, and they really tell us what we need to know. And I think what makes us popular is that many of the scholars have said much of what we've requested or what we asked for or comments that we've made or recommendations, we're beginning to see them. We have halal offerings because the scholars in this particular committee asked for it. Some of the changes that we see with the athletic fields came from the scholars. So we do value what they say. They are our end user. And most of the time in public education in the United States, adults make decisions without including the scholars. But at Westbury School District, we do ask them about their opinions. We do ask them about how they wish to receive their education. Now, they don't get everything that they ask for, but it has to be within reason, because we do want our end users to have some agency in their, in their coursework here with us. So if you have a child who is coming into the high school, not only do we welcome your child, but we also encourage your child to join the superintendent student advisory council.
I will absolutely let him know about that.
Okay.
And then as far as like the college credit courses, those as well are like shown to them, right? Like they'll see like the courses, they'll be detailed as far as when they get there and if it's like a college course, right? They'll get that information. Yeah. No, I'm saying like with the college credit courses, like they'll be given that information, like, when they, I guess, get with their advisors, be like, hey, these are the classes that actually give you college credit and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
So they'll be aware of that.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you.
Just speaking from my experience, what they do is they will send out notices. Please, 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 look at your text messages. Look at your text messages. Look on the website. Do all of that, all social media. I'm old school. I've been asking for mail, but they won't do that for me anymore. But look at that, because those are important, because those are the times and information that will provide you with the college credit, because it's not just one course you take, it's a series of courses you take in order to get some college credit. So make sure I implore all parents to please pay attention to your social media. Don't just dismiss it or erase it from your phone like I do sometimes, and I don't read it, but make sure you do read it, because it's important information is being transmitted to you about your scholar's education, the future of his education, and how to enhance the experience. So, thanks. Again, thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate your time and attention. Please, please remember, May 20th is an important date. From 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., please go to the polls, vote. Vote your conscience. Please vote. Grab a friend, several friends, and vote, and your neighbors. Yes.
Before Mr. Ewan closes out the meeting, my cabinet and I want to thank the community for their thoughtful questions. This dialogue, as you can tell, is exciting to us. We don't get to have conversations with families and community members about our course offerings, what we're doing instructionally, and we are just super excited to engage in these conversations. So I just want to thank the community members who came to the podium to just ask some really thoughtful questions. And as Mr. Ewan indicated, we encourage you to look at your email. Mr. Zembler sends out emails several times a week. I get the dings all the time. We will be launching our mobile app, I believe in July and August, where you'll get more notification of different meetings. Please attend those meetings. It is really important that you come out, you ask those questions, and you'll get to meet your child's counselor. I'm no longer a high school mom, but I will tell you, having a relationship with your child's counselor is equally as important as having a relationship with your child's teacher. Your counselor is your guide. Your counselor will answer questions, have resources. Your counselor will support your child throughout his or her high school and into their college experience. So please, please, please make sure that your counselor, you exchange information, you stay in contact with that individual, and that you develop a relationship with them. So that's very, very important. I can't stress that anymore.
On that note, thank you for coming, and to all the mothers out in the audience, happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to all the mamas and the grandmas and the aunties and the surrogate mamas and the stepmamas and all of that good stuff. Happy Mother's Day.